make sure it says everything's going live.
I don't know why
We
I pretend I
are
don't need my sun. I don't
live.
know why I pretend I don't need these glasses. I'm gonna be like the little old lady with these glasses with my readers on. See them.
Okay, you can have your readers on.
I know.
We're all. Hey, listen, I don't
We're
care.
old. We love it.
You know,
The
last
alternative
night,
is the alternative is not an option.
yeah, no, we're all gonna grow old. We're all
Yeah.
gonna age. So we need to think that we're not gonna stay young forever,
Right.
and we're going to change. Our bodies are gonna change. Everything. So yeah.
Yes. Very true. And
Okay,
we just have
so
to love ourselves how we are.
all we can do. Let me
All we
just
can
make
do.
sure you are live. I'm making sure because I didn't think I was live last and I wasn't. And I'm like, oh my God. All right. So today we're back here with Shiloh. This is Stephanie with Let's Talk About Sex with me, Stephanie Smith, and this is Shiloh Hobby with Love Your O. Hello, Shiloh.
Hi, everybody. How are you today, Stephanie?
I am fabulous. I'm awesome, honestly. I'm going to tell you a little story. I went last night. My girlfriend, sorry, there's like a little cough thing going on. I guess I have a little one. Last night I go out with my girlfriend. She invited me. She's doing a concert. I go to listen to her. She's fabulous. And I just got my booty on, but everyone was pretty much over 50 there. I mean, that's pretty much, I mean, maybe there were a couple young kids, but of the, so it's an over 50 community. Everyone was rocking out, having fun. And of course, people called me the teenager. I guess I looked like a teenager because I was totally dancing and up, and that's just me. And I will tell you, it's interesting how sometimes people just sit there and they just don't move. Like there's like no movement. And to me, just music moves me. Like it moves me. I hear music and it's like I'm dancing. I could
Yes.
be walking somewhere, hear music, and I'm dancing. So
In the grocery aisle.
in the grocery, I have done that. I listen to the music and
Because
I'm
they
like,
rock out in the grocery store now. I feel like, although I will say, it used to make me feel old, but I realized that they do play newer music now in grocery stores. So it's
oh
not
yeah,
just like the older music. They kind of play everything. So
yeah, yeah.
I absolutely rock out in the grocery store.
I do too. Yeah. And I don't care. It's
And
so funny
everywhere. I'm
because
with you.
I'm in the car, I'm dancing, and
Hmm.
I like my friend has a strobe light in her car, and that's the thing. So to me, we gotta move, people, let's move.
We
So
got to move.
today's movement, which is gonna be fun because we're gonna have an interesting movement
That's not what
type
the M
here.
stands for, Stephanie.
No, no, BDSM. Yeah, the big B. That's not what M stands for. Because right, we're doing A to Z. Thank you, Shiloh.
We
Get
are,
that
but
little
I'm just saying the M in BDSM does not stand for movement.
no. No. Anyways, but so tell me, BDSM, let's just get some of these kind of crazy things in our heads out of the way. A lot of people think that BDSM is just for people who are mentally unstable
That's not
or
true.
have trauma issues.
That's not true. Very untrue. Basically, I would
Well,
say
what
in a
is
nutshell.
why don't we
Why don't
explain
we
what
start
is
off with
BDSM?
what is
What is it?
BDSM? So BDSM stands for bondage, discipline, masochism, and sadism. And bondage, discipline, kind of what it sounds like. Sadism is going to be the person that likes to inflict the pain, and the masochist is the person that likes to receive the pain. And, yes, I'm sure that there probably are people. I mean, we all have traumas. So let's just go ahead and say that. But trauma doesn't have anything to do with BDSM. It's just another form of sexuality. I would call it's the next playground. And, you can start off with BDSM pretty lightly. I mean, you know, if you've ever brought a blindfold into the bedroom or tied your wrists with, you know, tied your partner's wrist with, you know, a tie or something, you've done BDSM.
Yeah.
So, you know, I mean,
Yeah, I think that people don't realize that, like, handcuffs, a
mhm,
little necktie with a little tying, just something as
mhm,
simple as that. So
yes,
the range here is very broad, and there's so much that encompasses. We will certainly not be covering it all today, but we're just
God, no.
going to pick at it a little bit. So let's start with the first one, bondage and discipline, or, you know, or what do you want to, how domination, however you, or submission, however you want to say. But let's talk about bondage. What are all the different types of bondages that are out there?
So, I mean, in regards to bondage, it generally means, you know, like just some type of restraint.
Okay.
And I will say, you know, in regards to BDSM, your imagination is kind of the limit. You know, you and your partner get to explore however you want to bind, you know, put your partner into bondage, you know, or experience that bondage for yourself, you know, whether it be chivalry, which is role play, you know, or, you know, something extreme as far as like a St. Christopher's cross, which is that X cross and people are up on.
Oh,
Um,
I've seen
right?
that. Oh
You
yeah.
know, or handcuffs, you know, so it could be, you know, all different levels, you know. I mean, some people break out the zip ties because that's what they're into, you know,
Hmm.
so it just depends on what your level is, but bondage is going to be bondage. You're bonded, you're binding in some way.
Right. And thank you for making me actually do some research on this stuff because I'm enjoying it.
It's
I
fun.
love it.
Isn't it
Um,
fun?
it is actually. And,
There's
you
so
know,
much.
there's so much.
There's so much.
So let me just explain some of the things that I've
Yeah,
seen
what
in
did
the
you find?
past. Well, what I've seen out there in the world, because my degree was in minor in human sexuality. So I wanted to see everything. And
And
being
you're
that
in the perfect place for it all too, I will say.
I was in San Francisco. I'm
Right. And
honestly, it was just honestly the most beautiful place, and to be able to experience all this stuff. So I went to this thing called, what they called is the Power Exchange. They have one in San Francisco and they have one in LA. I don't know if they're still there. They're multi-level facilities. So multiple floors, and each floor means something. And so the bondage floor, the SN, BDSM, or any of what they noted as like anything, it was pretty much what they labeled as crazy. Was we had wheels that you
mm,
could go, a
oh
woman could
yes.
go on and
Yeah.
spin. It's a
Yep.
spin wheel. They had doctors' tables, the gynecological tables
Yeah.
up. They had their feet up in there. They had that going on. They had they had the swings, the sex swings
Mhm.
hanging from the ceiling. They had all different kinds of those. That was awesome.
Yeah.
It was crazy. The places that you could put someone to then tie them up. Us
Yeah.
will do it in our bedroom, right? We're going to do it in our bedroom, a hotel room, a chair, things like that. So
Yes.
using ropes, or any kind of ties,
Mhm.
is good. Yeah. So my point is though that it is kind of crazy how far the mind can go. Cause I mean, seeing all that stuff for my first time, it was like, holy crap. Like,
Right?
really?
Yeah.
And I did get into I did go to see it. I didn't go obviously watch anything, but I went to observe. They had dungeons in a basement and they created just cement. It was just cement walls with, things to tie your arms up, your legs up, any kind of way to tie
Right.
your
Yeah.
all over the room. So they actually have places if you want to get tied up and have
Right.
BDSM to happen to you, you can go to these places, by the way.
Absolutely. And I mean, you know, and to your points, I mean, really, it's to find these places. It could be as easy as looking. You can look online. Obviously, the internet's full of things, but I know, like, within the Meetup, I want to say it's Meetup. There is. I'm in the Austin area, and I know here, like, there's some rope classes and such like that you can go to. I also know of, like, the different clubs. I went to a kink fest
Oh,
at one of the sex clubs here, and like you're describing, it was interesting. I mean, just in regards to BDSM, can we just talk about one thing, and that's boundaries?
yeah.
Like, BDSM
Oh,
has some boundaries. So, and I
there's
see
rules.
that.
That's a whole rule talk.
Yes,
That's a
there's
rule
a
talk.
lot of rules. And, like, even going to these different clubs, there's a lot of rules. Like, you
Yes.
can watch, but you don't, but generally there's a taped off area and you have to stay behind the line. And there are people that are walking around making sure that you are not invading
Compliant.
that play place. So,
And that's
it's,
a good point that you point out because one, you have to know the rules, number
mm-hmm,
one, to be able to play BDSM with your partner. You really
mm-hmm,
need to have that conversation. But
yes,
definitely, if you're going to go and explore like we do, you definitely need to know the rules because
yes,
there are rules and you
yes.
will get kicked out in a hot minute. But
Mhm.
it's a boundary thing. So don't just think like you get to go in there and start just touching
Well, and
everybody
it's
and just,
safety. I mean, nobody wants to
yeah,
be, it's one thing to be touched by the person that you want to be touched by.
right.
And then, that other part where, it's not, it's all consensual. So,
Yes, yes. So
yes,
let's get back to the rope part because I love that you have courses there in your
there are
area.
courses. I know.
I
I
love it.
totally want to take one.
I think that's great. Actually, well, that's why I'm going to tell you because I just, as I did this, there's Shibari,
Yes.
Shibari ties. And
Yes.
this was created. I wanted to know why was the Shibari originated? How was it? And it
Hmm.
was originated back, it's a restraining method for captives in a form of torture. So back in
Hmm.
the day
Right.
In Japan. And then they got this kambuka, bondage Kinbaqu, and it translates to the beauty of tight binding. And that's actually really cool because I've been tied up in a shibari type of a tie, did not know that that was the type of tie.
Right.
I've been tied up in other ways, just the normal vanilla way, if we will,
Right.
hands,
Handcuffs and
handcuffs,
right.
bed sheets, whatever. But I will say that a shibari tie, because we had to know, I'm like, I have anxiety issues. I have, like I claustrophobia issues. So to me, tying is very hard for sometimes for people, especially if you have these types of issues.
Hmm.
So one, it's a breathing that you have to do. And second, it's really that communication with your partner. If it's not tight and you don't, if you say, get me out of this right now, it's not, oh, well, we're almost done. No,
No.
no, 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 no. It's get me out of it
Now.
right now, because I'm gonna fucking lose my shit.
Yes.
And I will say that and I had both hands. I mean, everything tied behind my back and tight in the waist because shibari can go in the waist, in the legs, everything. I extremely erotic. And now, could I do it today? No, that was like 20 years ago. But,
Oh, you
you know,
mean that was when you were younger and more flexible, is what you're saying?
well, and a little bit more like I could, deal with that kind of shit, but there's no way now.
Right,
Um,
right.
and here's the thing, like I think when you're tying people up, like I've played enough, okay, people who have claustrophobia issues, you just don't have to You don't have to you can have one hand out. You can have it loose so you can get yourself out really
Well,
quickly.
and you're
Whatever.
right. I think that, I think that the most important thing that people really need to take away from, thinking about BDSM, it is very structured in terms of rules.
Yeah.
You have to have that, my favorite word, communication, right? But
Yeah.
I mean, you have to talk to your partners. There's actually a test that you can take to determine what your kinks are and
Oh,
what kind of things you're interested in.
oh,
And
what?
it's at bdsmtest.org.
Okay, we'll post it on the
We will,
link.
yeah,
And
we'll put
yeah,
that in the
perfect.
notes for everyone to go out and take your test, because yes, and see where you're at, see where you fall on your levels of kinkiness. And
Well, tell us
I
about
will
it
say
since
it's
you took it.
I have taken it. It's been a moment since I've taken it, but it's very interesting. It really does go through. It goes through all of the kinks and just kind of asks you, like, on a scale, like, how do you feel about this? And then at the end,
Okay.
it gives you a ranking and says, well, this is where you're at. Are you a switch? Are you a submissive? Do you want to be a slave? Do you want to be a brat? Do you want to be? Where do you fall on this level of things that you like? Do you like puppy play? Guys, there's BDSM captures a lot of different things. So those are just some fun terms.
That's really cool because yeah, I've never heard of all those.
Oh my
And
gosh, you have to go and
yeah,
take it.
yeah, I'm gonna go take it. And then I'll post how about next week? Or let's do another short little pre-record video and we'll talk about our kinks and just share it with the audience. I don't care. I mean, I'm cool with it. If you're not, I mean, I'll just do a live and I'll do it. I don't I never here's the one thing, here's my takeaway. I could give a rat's ass about what people think about me. I can.
I
I could give a shit. And that's why I continue to do my podcast and I continue to show up for myself. No one's pushing me to do this. I don't do this for anybody but me.
Right. I mean,
And
it's the education piece. That's what I love about it all. It's
yes,
educating.
exactly.
We're here to help people learn, and people are interested in this. That's why you're
They
watching.
are. Yeah.
That's why you're watching.
Okay,
So
so we got into the knots. Let's get because I want to be able to cover all of it and not be hours on this. But
mhm.
so we got the shibari ties. We've got the kinbaku, kinbaku, Kinbaqu. Okay, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
That's just not my forte.
Hey, some of these terms are definitely. I go to Google and say, how do I say this?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Well, I know, but I'm like, eh. Okay, so the next one is, and so we've talked about bondage, and we did talk about rules, which goes with discipline. What about domination and submission? So
Well,
being a dominant and submissive.
we didn't necessarily talk about discipline. We talked about rules,
Mm,
but we didn't talk
okay,
about discipline.
well, let's talk about discipline.
Let's talk about discipline, because it's not the
Do
same
it.
as rules. Because rules we're talking about, like, in terms of, this is what you like, this is what you don't like, this is what I'm willing to do.
Mm-hmm.
That's your
Mm-hmm.
rules. Setting that safe word. And yes, a safe word is important, but and when it comes to discipline is kind of thinking of it as discipline. This is what you get for not doing something. It's the discipline piece. So it might be, that your partner is telling you that you can't orgasm. You have to hold back on your orgasm, and they kind of
Oh,
just wait it out. So it's
okay.
discipline. It might be a spanking. It might be, but discipline is
So
discipline
there's like something that happens. So
for a
basically
reaction.
you're going, I'm going to tie you up, or if you want to be tied up or something like that, you can't have an orgasm, or I'm going to tie you up and you can't have an orgasm. Things like that. So there's like
Right.
a
Where, they perceive, or, when it comes to, I mentioned, before I mentioned brats. And in the BDSM world, a brat is basically, a brat. Like, in the terms of exactly how you think of somebody that's a brat, they're a brat. So they're not necessarily listening. They talk back a lot.
Oh,
That discipline is coming for them. They like the
okay.
discipline. They like to be disciplined. They know that when they're sassy and they do whatever it is that they're going to do that, irritates,
Mm,
that when they go against those things that their person, their master, their person, daddy, whomever you want to call him is doing, or her,
mm-hmm,
go
mm-hmm.
both ways. Cause just keep in mind, gender is very fluid in this.
Yeah,
There is not a gender role that's assigned to any of this. It can go
right.
either
No,
way.
it can be either way.
So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. So I mean, discipline, is
Dominate. It's interesting because I guess I would have to say that I've had more vanilla BDSM. Okay,
oh,
I
I'm
have.
definitely
Because mainly just, tie up little, my,
handcuffs and
the
yeah,
blindfold,
yeah,
the teasing of a whip or something like that. So a little smackety smack with my, whatever.
right.
But I've never, I guess, because most people are like, oh my God, yeah, I don't like any pain. I'm like, oh no, I'm not going to. And I don't want to be hurting people.
Right.
It's not my idea to hurt people. However, when I was in college, they brought that into class. So that was that's why I love my coursework, was because they brought this shit in class. So the BDSM day, the guy came in buttless chaps, no
Nice.
shirt. Well, he had to come in because he had to walk through campus. So he came in
Yeah.
clothed and then broke out into buttless chaps, some kind of a cock hold, like with a key and all that. It was on a keychain, or like a lock.
Mm-hmm.
Um, he had a mask on, tied in the back and locked, so he couldn't even do anything, and his hands tied behind his back. And we couldn't see his eyes, only he had a mouth. That was it.
Mm.
It was just the craziest shit, okay? And then he had the ball in the mouth. The ball
The
tied
gag, yes.
the gag. So I was like, oh, now this is in class, by the way.
Yes.
And his partner, and they loved all this. So he was smacking him and, whipping him in his ass and
Mm-hmm.
live show. And got the candle out, lit the candle, got the wax, doing it all over the body, because that's a form of teasing and like play and bondage. Did it all over the nipples, like the fire, a little bit of fire on the butt. I mean, it was everything. We
Right.
saw so many different things in that one session that I'd never seen and I've never done since, but it's interesting. So like I'm saying, the gamma is so big.
It
Okay.
is. Yes, like you
And
said, it can be something as simple as handcuffs and a blindfold and some candle wax and a
yeah,
candle.
yeah,
Get a
yeah,
safe candle. Get one of them that are made for it. You don't need to do the wax. I mean, be
yeah,
safe.
yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. But I mean, how cool is that, right? I mean, to
Yes.
me, it's like we get to see these kinds of things and go, wow, that's out there. I'm a non-judger. I believe whatever
Hey,
floats
you
your
know what?
boat.
If you have
So,
an orgasm, if it turns you on, then as long as everybody's consensual.
oh, I told you the other BDSM guy, he liked the part, talking of submissive and dom. He wanted pies thrown in his face by a female, not by a man, but by a female. So he brought all the pies. He brought 12 of them because there was 12 of us girls in the class. And now some of the girls didn't do it. So of course I didn't care. I
You're like, give it to
wasn't
me.
getting turned on. I'm like, I'm not getting turned on, but if you are, okay. So he did, and it was cool to just see, like I'm saying, like you said, people act like animals, and it's everywhere. So quit the judging. It's between you and your partner. Don't be
It is.
talking about it with your friends, because they're going to judge you. But the two of you shouldn't be judging each other into
No.
trying to explore this area that is actually such an amazing, untapped discussion that people won't talk about. So I love
It's,
it.
it really comes down to, it comes down to trusting your partner, because you do get to,
Mm,
you develop that deeper bond. I mean, really, when it
we
comes down
do.
to it, sex is playtime for you and your partner. when you were younger, you had play dates with your friends. This is your socialization. This is your fun. As we get older, we become into adults, we get new toys. But playtime can be a little bit different, and but it's important. And the thing about playtime is it means to explore and to find what makes you happy and do the things that make you happy. And sex, obviously, I feel like it makes everybody happy.
They say,
or most
okay.
people, happy.
No.
So
the majority of people need sex and food. Okay,
right.
Sex and food.
Yes.
Okay, that is just the reality of life. So, but we're not talking about food properly right now already, and especially in our Western diet, and we can't even talk about sex. I mean, come on. So that's why we're doing this, is because we're going to continue talking about sex everywhere, all the time, constantly. And Shiloh made a suggestion yesterday when I talked to her to go do lives at sex shops. So just so you know, I did go and reach out to one of them already, working on that. And I have two of them. One that's fully full of amazing gear for men, and then another one that's just more co-ed stuff. So you are right. Let's do it. Let's do it.
Oh, fun. I love it. I love it. That's super fun.
So, because you know what? Then we get people that come in to the shops, and they can have questions and they want to answer,
or not, or they can stay off camera depending on how shy they are.
Yeah. But it's like, I mean, like I get questions constantly sent to me by, and I know I'm getting some, but I'm not answering them because I can't spend time looking at that. And people don't want to pop on and do comments here because it shows on there that it's them. And that's a very uncomfortable thing for a lot of people. And I know this. And that's what a lot of people have been struggling with to try have reached out to me, is like, I'm sorry, I can't like your stuff. I can't follow you. I can't. And so I go, dude, don't even care. I see my insights. I know what's going on. And I know that we live in a conservative world where people don't allow us to talk openly and honestly about sex. And it's purely stupid. So it's time for us to do this. So let's get back to BDSM. Sorry, I just wanted to preach to.
Nope, I like it. I liked your little soapbox moment. Thank you.
Thank you. Soapbox. Okay, so what else do you want to say? Okay, about, you said the discipline. I like that. We talked about the domination a little bit and submission. So talk a little bit more, because you did say there's no gender relation into that. And that is very true, right?
There is not, right? It doesn't, like when you're talking about, especially, when you're talking about like submissive and dominant, like I think that our mind automatically goes to that being a gender specific thing. Like it has to be the man that's the aggressive and the female that's the submissive. But that's not the case. I mean, it goes both ways. There's a lot of female dominatrix out there that are punishing the guys that want to be punished, and so
100%. Here's the thing. I think people think that BDSM is 50 Shades of Grey.
No, it is not. The nice thing, I guess, I will say this about 50 Shades of Grey. It was a fantastic tool to open up conversations about BDSM. That is what I will give it, is that, it made people interested in, a little bit more vocal about like, oh, like maybe we should try tying up. Maybe we should try some of this stuff. But ultimately, 50 Shades of Grey it's not healthy. It does not depict a healthy relationship. The whole, talking about boundaries, there was never a conversation. He gave her a contract and said, here, this is what you get to do. Like, that's not a conversation, and it really created this unreal.
But she signed it. But that's consensual.
I mean, it's a story.
But here's the deal. So this does happen. This does type of, and so that's the thing is, you're right. We do need to make sure, though, that we're not entering into contracts that are truly not in our best interest. So,
Right. And 50 Shades of Grey also, focused on this whole trauma filled past that he had,
mhm.
which, BDSM does not necessarily need to be anything that has to do with trauma. It
Mm-mm.
doesn't, it's not that. It's really
I
not.
think because people think that you are whipping each other with whips and chains and there's whatever. That's kind of how I think people see it. And all, like, not at all. And it can be. It can be whatever you want it to be
Exactly.
consensually. So, yeah. Yeah, I think a lot of people think that that's what it is, and it's so not. So,
It's not.
and you can go from vanilla to as crazy as he did. And like I've seen, there's rooms in LA where she has it all set up for you to teach you BDSM. I do. It's a BDSM Airbnb. Yeah, it's so cool. And it's not
When I
working
come
out.
to visit you, we're visiting San Francisco.
Pardon me?
When I come to see you, we're visiting San Francisco.
Oh yeah, we'll go up there.
You're gonna be my tour guide, and y'all can join us. We'll do some lives.
Oh, there we go. We
I
can do it.
love
I
it.
love it.
I
And we
love
could
it.
do it on the Golden Gate Bridge because we'll have Mophie Wi-Fi capability anywhere we go. So yeah.
Wow. Yeah,
So
yeah.
that
I'll
would be
wait for
fun.
that one. Watch for that, you guys. When we go explore some stuff.
Right? That'll be fun. Yeah, and then we're going to do it here in Joshua Tree. So we're going to be at Joshua Tree here. We'll go to Palm Springs. We're going to go do it by the Marilyn Monroe because she's going to be gone. So when you're here, we'll go out and visit and explore, and then we'll just pop in and do a live. Boom.
Very nice. I love it.
We don't have to do anything like too formal,
No,
just really casual talk on.
no. But let's get back to BDSM, so y'all know there's a little teaser for later.
Okay, go. Okay, so what's the next? So it's not 50 Shades of Grey. So in your experience, what's the most common misconception?
Well, I think the trauma thing is huge. I think that it's also, the whole that it's not a consensual relationship. I feel like, people think of it as like, well, that's like a control thing and like they're trying to control you. And that's not at all what it is. You are giving up control voluntarily,
Voluntarily.
completely voluntarily. You are
Mhm.
not doing this because you are being forced to do it.
Right.
That is
Exactly.
the difference. It's not a trauma thing.
Mhm. Mhm.
So, I think that's definitely a huge misconception about it. Probably one
And
of the
and if
biggest.
a female gives up control, that doesn't mean that you're giving up every control. It's a sexual
No.
thing. It's because I like to be dominated. So I like to be. So I like that kind of domination.
Hmm.
But there's a place and a time, and that's
Absolutely.
the fine line in a relationship that you have to communicate that part too, because otherwise, I have seen it get out of control because I do hang out with people who are very into the sexual world and do things. And I can see how sometimes their relationship, that dominance can roll over. And then they just put each other in check. I've seen that, because when
Hmm.
you're really in sync with each other and really that connected, it is truly like that. So,
Hmm.
yeah,
Yes.
I love it.
Yes, I agree. And to your point too, when you mentioned that, actually, interestingly enough, people that are in like very high powered roles have a lot of responsibilities. They tend to like being dominated in the bedroom because it's
Yeah.
somewhere, and it's basically, it kind of comes down to that psychological thing because they don't have to be in control. They can give it all of that up.
That was me. I was
Yeah.
done. I
So
was done. Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
So,
So I mean, it doesn't necessarily. Next time you're sitting in a meeting and you're, a little bit, intimidated by boss man or whatever, just, picture him tied up, groveling. Whatever. I mean, he might be that person. You never know.
You never know.
You
Oh,
never know.
it's funny because
I mean,
you know
beyond
how
picturing people in their underwear here.
I always picture people having sex, or I always picture them doing, I'm like, I wonder if they like all that kind of, crazy stuff like I like. And, but you can tell, I can kind of tell when you're talking to people and things they do, you're like, oh, they like that, so,
Yeah.
um, okay, so dominance. And then, so one thing about the dominance, it can swap because
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of men that like to be dominated.
Yep.
And
But then they also like to, and that's a switch.
yeah, they love the
So that's a
switch. Yeah.
person. That's a person that's known as a switch. If you go both ways, so to speak, then
Oh,
you
okay.
you can, and you can absolutely go both ways. You could be the person that likes to be dominated, but then you can also be the person that likes to dominate. They both have their place.
That's awesome.
Yes, everything is fluid.
So,
That's the nice thing about BDSM. I mean, everything is fluid. Everything
yeah,
is, there's you get to make your own rules.
yeah,
You
yeah,
get to decide what it is you like, what it is you don't like, and you get to try new things. I mean, that's the other thing about BDSM. Like, you get to try whatever you
yeah.
and your partner want to try
In a safe space
in a safe
because
space with
that's
that trust.
that's the rule in that space is to be safe. And I think let's just talk about that because you know what I was thinking when you were saying this? I'm like, I think a lot of people think that when we start exploring or people who explore, that it's an unsafe space when they explore. And I'm going to tell you right now, that is not true. So when you want to
No,
do threesomes, you want to do swinging, you want to do going to, sex parties, all of that stuff, they have rules
yes,
and
they do. And they are
they
very
very
enforced.
strict. Oh yes,
They are
and they
very,
tell you
very
ahead.
enforced.
So here's the thing, that's why that's why I explored so much because it was such a safe space.
It
And
is.
I always was with either a girlfriend or girlfriends or my partner,
Hmm.
but I never felt like I've never been raped. I've
Right.
never had any unconsensual anything happen
Right.
to
Nobody
me.
touches you. You don't have to worry
Nope.
about being touched inappropriately. Nobody accidentally
Okay,
jostles you and grabs your ass. Like,
one time somebody touched me. One time because I was somewhere. He touched my leg and I said, "Don't touch me." And he actually, just my words like that, he got kicked out of that room and he was scolded by the bodyguard and that's that. So that's why I'm saying it's like these are really safe spaces to
yes,
explore,
if you want to
you
go
know?
check out a sex club or you want to check out some of these, yes, they are very, very safe. And a
You
great
know,
place to get started with with the lifestyle, to be honest, if you're
it
curious.
is.
It's a
Yeah.
very, yes.
Even hotels, I don't know about where you live, but because I live in the crazy world of California, we have now in Palm Springs, we have swinging hotels.
Okay.
So the hotel is swinging. It is couples and single women only.
So is that like a resort? I mean, because I know like
It is.
there's swingers
It's a resort.
resorts and
Yeah,
such.
it's a
Yeah.
resort. So it's a
There's
whole
swingers
all
resorts
inclusive.
around.
And then they have rules like if your door's open, it's this, if your door's closed, if you want them to come in, there's all these rules that they have. So there's places everywhere. Vegas has them, everything. So
Mhm.
if you want to explore and do things, you can. And
Yes.
it will be safe.
And here's the thing too. Here's a fun little fact. Generally speaking, ladies, you're in charge.
Yeah, right?
The
You get to
ladies
make
are
all
in
the
charge.
decisions.
The ladies run this
The
game.
show. Yes.
Y'all. Ladies
Yes.
run this. Like, this is not a men make the rules kind of thing. This is a ladies make the rules kind of thing
That
as
is
well.
right. It's all,
Like,
yep, exactly. Yeah, yeah,
very much the ladies make the rules.
right, exactly.
Yeah. So.
And just so, I mean, I have 30-year-olds calling me and saying, I'm thinking I'd like to do a little tie up. And I'm like, you're you're just doing it now. Oh my love, let's get you going. Get going on it sooner than later. Enjoy, try it, test it out. I mean, playing in the bedroom, it that's the whole goal is to play with your friend who's
Hmm.
now your partner in life.
Hmm.
And, if you don't
It deepens your
play,
bond. It
yeah.
deepens the trust that you have with each other. It deepens the bond that you have. I mean, to know that you can trust them in this and be like super vulnerable in these very intimate positions and in scenes, like
Mhm.
it really does strengthen your relationship
Yes.
because
And
it
and
does include a lot of trust.
and the outcome doesn't have to have an orgasm. The
Mm-mm.
outcome doesn't need to be an orgasm. In fact, BDSM is actually better with that anticipation, the buildup of, oh, you can't do this, or you can't do
Right.
that, or I'm going to tie you up tonight, or whatever it is, and it play with you, and you don't get anything the rest of the night, and then you have to wait till the next day. I mean, that's part of it. And it is fun when you do build up instead of men who think that they need to release daily
Hmm.
works. You
Yes.
need to do a build up, and boy, that release will be way different than anything else. Okay, one other thing I wanted to say, because you brought up the BDSM um, test that people could take so they could find out what
Yes.
they are.
BDSMtest.org.
Okay, cool. So I'm going to post it though on the link in my bio.
Yes.
And I'm also going to suggest Miss Jaya, Jaiya. I am saying it right. I'm just spelling it so you can go. She has an erotic blueprint that she developed, and it was 20 years making. And you can go find that out as well. And that helps you as well in that connection to find out your eroticism, what kind of kink you like, and all of that. And then you do it with your partner. Then you can really understand your BDSM kink, your erotic kink, and kind of put those puzzle pieces together to help each other out, because that's the goal, is to work out each other's fantasies and have some fun.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You're supposed to have fun. You need to have fun. That's the sex is having fun.
Yeah,
And
it
it
is.
should never be, once it becomes not fun, then you're not with the right partner.
I want to change my name to Fun. I'm just kidding. I always tell everyone, I'm kidding. I always tell everyone my name is FUN. Say what? Because I love to have fun.
Yeah.
And I do. I love to have fun. Okay, so Lynn, let's see any last minute stuff on this, my love, that let's talk about aftercare, especially
Aftercare is
going.
very, very important. So the
Let's
one
cover
thing,
that. And
yeah. So the biggest thing about BDSM is you are pushing your boundaries in many, many, many ways. And aftercare is essential to just, it's cuddling, it's, talking, it's talking to each other. It's just having that, it's the snuggling after sex, y'all. It has to happen. It has to. It has
and
to happen.
the check-in about what happened.
Yes, it's how you're feeling. You want to talk about it. You want to talk about what was done. You want to have that conversation, to make it better for next time, but also to just, make sure, you're deepening that bond.
Yeah.
You just did something that was outside of your norm.
Yeah.
You knew that you were pushing, the fears, you're pushing all the limits that you have. And so
Right.
having that person, afterward, okay, now let's take it down. Let's talk about it. Let me kiss you a little bit extra. Let me snuggle with you, hug you, whatever you need, just to make sure that you are being taken care of emotionally, physically, just, all of it. It's important.
And and here's the thing, and the reason why, and you can attest to this too, I'm assuming, because we both have been out there and have done it. That check-in is to, what did I like?
Mm-hmm.
What didn't I like? And what do we need to do better next
Yes.
time? Because nothing's going to be 100%, and each time is going to be different, and it's going to
Hmm.
get better and better. Um, and I don't suggest doing everything all at once and tie up and let's do
No,
anal at the same time and let's do this and
no.
let's not be
You know
overly
what?
anxious.
Do what you're comfortable with. Yeah, you don't have to start everything at one time, but do
No.
what you're comfortable with. Add in something, different each time. Put a little twist on it. But
Hmm.
like you said, you're going to talk about it and you're going to make it better.
Yeah,
And that is part of
exactly.
that aftercare is, you're talking about it. You're talking about what you've done and, what felt good, what didn't feel good. What do you
Yeah,
never, ever, ever want to do again? I mean, you have that safe word. So, if you get to that point of something that you don't like, you definitely should be using the safe word because
yeah,
that ends all play immediately. Just so you know, the safe word is like the auto eject out of a plane. Like you
that's
hit
right.
it, you're gone. Like it's done.
That's right. It's done.
So just keep that in mind. But it's talking, but aftercare just includes that, it's talking. It's just that extra love afterwards
Hmm. Yeah,
to
yeah,
kind
yeah.
of
I
just
love
help
it.
you out with that whole little security blanket.
Yeah,
So to bring you
exactly.
down, to bring you back into to bring you back to you. So
Yeah, yeah. No, it's so true. And, you know, I just want to say for those that think, oh my gosh, I don't have the money to do this kind of stuff. That's not, let me be really clear. You can use bed sheets,
mhm.
you can use your dish towels, get some towels, rip it up, cut them up. I don't care.
Yeah,
There are so many things that you can do. And people go, oh, well, I don't have bed posts. I need bed posts. Okay, listen, you can tie up, put the bed underneath, run it through, run two through, tie it through. You don't need bedposts. Get
nope.
creative, get
You can
online, look at ways to do tie up, but you don't need, you can use things in your household.
you can.
Yes.
People get very you can get very, very creative, and you're absolutely right. You really don't need a lot to get started. It's not hard to
Mm-mm.
create a blindfold. You can create a blindfold with any piece of fabric,
Yes.
and you
Yeah,
can create tie-ups with any piece of fabric.
exactly.
So boom, you got an
And just
automatic
go
BDSM little scene right there with
right
some
there. Right.
with just some random pieces of fabric that you have laying around, whether it be a shirt or a tie or yes,
Exactly.
yes,
And
definitely.
or a scarf, women
A
have
scarf.
scarves.
Yes. You know what? There are, yes, we have so many
So
different, we
let's
can sit
keep,
here, we can do
we
this
can
for
keep
a while.
going.
We can look around and be like, and I could use that, and I could use that, and maybe that. So,
I've used my cell phone chargers, my long
okay.
ones. Yeah.
Well,
Hey,
see,
hey, it worked. It
it works.
worked.
It
So
works.
um another thing, if they're gonna have someone tied up, this is really fun. Okay. If you're gonna
Yeah.
tie them up, do get some fun things to tickle them, like a
Oh, yeah.
feather or, and I like to get a whip and a little smackety smack.
I
I
mean,
like
I
to
feel
do
like
that
the
too.
whole point of being tied up, I mean, you get to do stuff to your partner that they can't stop you from unless they say that safe word. So I mean, sky's the limit. Pull out the feathers,
Whipped
pull out the
cream.
whips, pull out the whipped cream. Just don't put it, down
The
there because
no, no, not down there.
sugars and vaginal juices or whatever are not good. That causes infections, y'all.
No
So, but
bueno.
I mean, those feathers and candle, wax, hot wax.
Yep,
Yeah.
hot wax. Get paint. You can
Yes,
paint.
there's
You can
so
do a
many.
whole paint.
Yes.
So here's a good one. They could go watch Sex, Love, and Goop. That's a great Netflix series to get some
Mhm.
more ideas. That whole series I just really loved, and I've been watching it. I know we've been talking about it, and I just feel like, the more that people do things together, watch Netflix movies like that, watch videos like us, get out there and explore a little bit themselves, their relationship will deepen. And I'm really seeing
Absolutely.
that people are not having very deep relations because they're not having sex, um, and they're just dealing with the day-to-day lives. And it's time to spruce it up and get things moving. And
Yes.
so we can have better relations with our partner forever, not for just a time or whatever.
Right.
So
Well, and I
yeah.
would say, and my specialty, I'm all about loving yourself. So my
Yeah,
goal is to help women love themselves properly. So ladies,
exactly.
if you're struggling with loving yourself, I'm here for you. I would love to help you. I'm here
And
for
that's right, because we
the,
don't know how to love ourselves.
we
It's like,
don't. We're
it's
terrible about it.
no.
We put
And
everybody first, and then we've been shamed forever around our sexuality, so we don't even know. And we're bombarded with information, and there's so much wrong information out here. So I love doing this with you so that we can talk about these different terms, and we can talk
mhm,
about how, what they actually are, and, give people good information. I
yeah,
love
and
this.
honest and yeah. And about the coaching, here's the thing. If you're not spending money on yourself, coaching, getting some kind of coaching or self-help, either yearly, it doesn't have to be a lot, it could be just something. You're doing it wrong. Honestly, I'm telling you. I've benefited from all the coaching in my years of life, and you're right. A
I agree
coach
with that.
pushes you a coach pushes you in different ways that you can't push yourself. And I have a coach during this process that I'm doing, and I have to. I mean, and I've not just had one coach. I've had a few different ones. They've all provided me different ones. I just met another lady last night. I'm going to hire her. We're going to work together. I know we all need help. And if
Mhm.
you're not
Yes.
spending money on yourself with some kind of coaching, it's that then you're doing yourself a disservice, honestly, and your relationship and the people around you, because
Yes.
you will just better and be doing the things that you want to do.
Yes.
And so I know that they can go to, you're on my link in my bio. They can go to there, they can book an appointment, whatnot. And ladies, all of this stuff now, we've got so many payment option type things, Klarna, Affirm, all these things. So when everyone's, oh my God, I don't have money. Yeah, you do. You do. You just have to put that aside.
Yes.
So,
And, and I will say, that, when it comes to coaching, the idea, the goal behind coaching is to make you better. And with, loving your O, like that's what I like to call it. I'm the love your O. So, it's basically you're become better in all areas of your life. It's not
yeah,
just one. You don't
yeah,
just, this isn't designed so that you just become great in the bedroom. Like, yay, I want you to know yourself. Absolutely. But it spreads.
yeah.
It spreads everywhere. When you become empowered sexually,
Oh my
you
gosh.
like it's basically
It shows. It shows.
unleashing it unleashes this whole different level for you,
Yeah,
for sure.
100%. And I want to say this. I really I have people say, when I lose weight, I'll get coaching. When I have done X, I'll get coaching. Here's the thing. Okay, you don't need to lose weight to find yourself sexually.
No.
You will find yourself sexually, and I will trust you that you will lose weight because of the swag that you will have after finding yourself sexually.
Yes. And I mean, and and to your point, I mean, you everyone should learn how to love themselves where they are.
Yes, where they
Like you
are.
said,
That's
you don't
good.
have to wait, to lose weight to have sex. At the same time, you don't have to lose weight to love yourself.
No.
This should
Yep.
not be like, you need to be thinking, basically people need to thankful for their bodies every day,
Yeah.
because your
Yeah.
body allows you to do everything that you need to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I
It's
mean,
it
start
does.
praising your
It's
body, like it's doing a lot for you. Regardless of
mhm.
what it looks like and how much you criticize it, it is doing what it is supposed to be doing for you.
And what you're doing for it. So if you're
Yes.
eating shitty, it's going to look shitty. If
Yes.
you're not exercising, it's not going to look like you're exercising. So,
Right.
and I only know this because I only started my exercise and eating routine only a year ago. And because I was like probably everyone else, that I thought, oh, I'm just, this is just the way it is.
It's just
But
the way it is.
I informed
It's not.
myself, and it's not. So,
No.
and since then I have lost weight, and I do feel better. And I know that everyone else can do the same. It's just, it's not doesn't happen overnight.
No,
I think
it's a
people think that
process.
it'll go like this, and it doesn't.
No,
Remember, if it took you 30 years to make your body look like crap, it's going to take you a few years to get back out of that.
true
And you
story.
don't want to be doing it in 1 year because you want to be doing it healthily. So
Hmm.
and the reason why I use that model, I used to tell my doctors, they would get me in there as a consultant and go, "Oh, can you fix this? I mean, can you fix my office? It's a mess. It's a shit show." Yes, it's a big shit show. So how long has it been like this? Oh, it got really worse the last 2 years, but 10 years. Oh, okay. Well, can you get this done in like what, 90 days? No, this is going to be a 2-year process. I'm sorry. I mean, we're going to have to work out the kinks and it'll all get flowing, but yeah, it's going to be a process. Sorry. So we are such we have to have immediate satisfaction. It just doesn't work like that.
Yes. Remember, we're a
And
very
that's,
good at now society.
yeah.
And
So we could go
unfortunately,
on and on.
yes. So
I love talking to you though, and I
I
love
know
our talks,
it's
but
so
I'm
nice.
like,
We do have
it's
good talks.
55 minutes and I'm wondering like, people are like, get off, get off. No, I'm just kidding.
Wait, did y'all get off? Sorry.
That's a good one.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
So let me just do a little plug. I have a podcast. This will go up in our live, in our streams, so you can go and rewatch this as many times as you want and laugh with us. Shiloh and I are back here every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. We're working on our trivia, our sex trivia, and that should come out sometime in April. And we're looking forward to that. And then this Thursday, please join me for not a live podcast. It's a pre-recorded podcast, and it's a Fitbit for the penis. That's right. It's a cock changer. Not a game changer, a cock changer. Anyway,
Wow, that's exciting.
Yeah, it's exciting. I'm so excited about this product because it's measuring men's sexual health with their cardiac health. And you and I both know that sexless, because we did our dead bedroom series, we know that there's a lot of dead bedrooms, and some of it has to do with health issues. So this is really cool that we can get down to the bottom of this.
Absolutely. That'll be very exciting. I look forward to hearing it.
Yeah. And this is great because next week we're going to do C. I don't know what we're doing. Do we know?
We are doing the most fabulous C word, clitoris.
The clitoris.
The clitoris.
Oh,
Which,
that's fun.
Fact, do you know that in 2005 is when they actually had like a full-size scale made of the clitoris.
Get out.
I know, I saw that. I was like, wow.
Just in 2005.
Yeah, that was on the Goop series. I actually watched when I was watching the Goop series. I saw that
when she pulled the
comment.
whole.
She was like, it was like 2005, and I mean, I know that it's been 30 years since they, discovered like the clitoral, like just that the clitoris is more than just a little teeny tiny knob in the front. You see, it's all internal, y'all. It's all internal, and it's
yes. It's a big web. We're
gonna talk about it next week. We're gonna have a whole conversation about it. It's gonna be fun.
I love it. Okay, and so I will post the links in my Reddit. I'll post the links on my links, all the stuff that you've talked about, all the stuff I've talked about. It's all there for you. That's what we're here for. Give you information. That's it. All right. Thanks for joining me, Shiloh. Have a great one.
Thanks for having me, Stephanie.
Bye.
Bye.